CINEMATICON Ex Mortis, Season 3. And we are kicking off our third season. Well, I guess I should say I'm Kenny, and I'm here with...
Heather.
That's the first time I've forgotten that.
I don't know if you forgot. I think maybe it was just going to come a little bit later.
Yeah. Maybe it's a bad omen.
What?
For the podcast.
Why? What is wrong with you? Why would you say something like that?
Well, I don't know, because maybe it is.
Thanks. You're saying this as someone who doesn't believe in omens to someone who definitely believes in omens. So you're just blatantly fucking with me, and I don't love it.
So anyway, today we are looking at another classic horror film, and this one is a surprise because we didn't say what it was last time, but it is Troll 2 from 1990.
Does it count as a classic horror film if it's from 1990? Is that classic?
I mean, I think we would count The Silence of the Lambs, and that was just from the next year.
I feel like that's when you hear Nirvana on the classic rock station. You're like, okay, come on. Like, you know, it makes you feel old.
Okay, well, we'll say a modern classic.
Okay, it's better.
And this is a film released in 1990, written and directed by Claudio Fragasso, with a screenplay based on a story written by Fragasso and his wife, Rossella Drudi. It stars Michael Stevenson and George Hardy, and features a musical score by Carlo Maria Cordio. A sequel in name only to the 1986 film Troll, because the name was originally Goblins, which makes sense if you've seen the film, but they changed it to Troll 2 prior to release in order to capitalize on the success of the first Troll film.
So kind of like Cat People?
Like Curse of the Cat People, you mean?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, like, you know, the Cat People franchise, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Curse of the Cat People is a similar situation in that it's really not a sequel to Cat People. Like, you really don't need to see Cat People first.
Was there anything, because I haven't seen Troll 1, is there any sort of connection between the two, or?
No.
Okay.
But, fun fact, Troll, the 1986 film, is the first Harry Potter film.
What does that mean?
One of the main characters is named Harry Potter.
Really?
Yeah. It's
How
the
weird.
character played by Michael Moriarty.
Huh.
So, I picked that up from a Cinemassacre video. I have not actually seen the film Troll. But yeah, that's a good piece of trivia for trivia night. What was the first Harry Potter film? It was actually Troll.
I don't think that's gonna hold up.
I don't see I don't see where the logic falters there.
Okay.
But I guess let's troll right into our plot summary. So spoiler alert. I think we would both agree this is a great film.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're thinking about seeing it, you should definitely check it out before listening to the rest of this episode. But here goes. Here's the plot summary. Grandpa Seth is reading a bedtime story to his young grandson, Joshua, in which a man is pursued and eaten alive by a group of goblins. Upon reaching this horrible conclusion, Joshua seeks reassurance that such creatures don't exist in reality, only to be told that, "They are real! Your Grandpa Seth is telling you!" The bedtime story is interrupted by Joshua's mom, Diana, at which point it is revealed that Grandpa Seth is a ghost that only Joshua can see. The next day, Joshua's family, including his father Michael and big sister Holly, take a vacation to the small town of Nilbog. Seth warns Joshua that this town is inhabited by goblins who trick strangers into eating green food that turns them into plants, which the goblins then devour. And he even helpfully stops time long enough for Joshua to piss all over the deadly meal the goblins have prepared for his family. Meanwhile, Holly's boyfriend and his overly clingy friends Arnold, Drew, and Brent have followed Holly and her family to Nilbog. They too are in danger of falling prey to the goblins. With Seth's help, Joshua will try to convince his family of the truth and escape from the deadly vegetarian creatures. Okay, that's my plot summary.
Very good.
So I believe you had never seen this before, Heather.
No. Have you seen it before?
Oh, of course.
Oh, sorry. I'm the uncultured one here.
I mean, it's one of the great horror films of all time. So
Okay, well, I hadn't seen like a lot of the stuff that, we've either covered or talked about covering, so
yeah, and I think that's part of the fun of the show.
definitely.
Is that you're having this experience for the first time. Or I think next time, not to give anything away, well, not next time, in a few episodes from now, we'll be having the opposite experience where you've seen it and I haven't.
Oh,
But
yeah. That's gonna be a first, and I think I'm gonna really like that like role reversal.
So I guess I'll start with the favorite question. What are your favorite and least favorite aspects of the film?
Well, I genuinely thought it was really scary.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones where I had trouble watching because I was like disturbed by a lot of it, which I guess that speaks to like how good of a film it is because, if it has that much of an effect, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's one of those stick with you type things. So I have to pay respect to that, even though it was horrifying.
Any particular moments?
I don't like it when the people turn into plant, like they fuse with the plants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Arnold's character like becomes like part plant, part human, because that's how the goblins eat you, is you basically become a plant, right? I found it really disturbing. Like it was like, pretty much anytime someone is silenced, like they can't speak, I find that really disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was pretty much like in horror watching that whole scene happen. So
yeah, and that's a classic scene. You
that's
see
right.
references to that all over when he says the immortal line, "They're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my god!"
Right. It's bone chilling.
It is. It's just I don't know. It's like you've seen so many imitations of it, and then you go and see the original, and it just blows everything away.
That's right. Like I've seen that scene out of context, and that was my only like reference to the film. So
Yeah, it's kind of
seeing
like
the
this film's version of the shower sequence in Psycho.
Exactly.
Only I would say it's much more disturbing.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
I mean, and then the part where that whole sequence is, I totally agree. It's like totally horrifying. Like when the little goblin throws the wooden stick at him,
Yeah.
and it just sticks like 2 inches into his chest, and he goes, "Ah!" That is an amazing moment as well.
Yes, it was very dramatic and really unexpected. So, it was like, you gasp, like it's just, ugh.
I love the fly that's like crawling around on his forehead too. As he's screaming, "Oh my god!" Like that attention to detail is really
It's
where
because
this film shines.
he's frozen, so he can't move. So it's like there's nothing he can do. It just shows like, how drastic that is.
Yeah, I feel like that's another area where this film really excels, is in conveying information to the audience.
Yes, I
and then
really
conveying
appreciated
that information again and then again, in case anyone forgot. So, like, I love how whenever there's a character that's a goblin, and it's been established that they're a goblin before, and then they say something to, one of the human characters that's sort of malevolent, like they'll say, "Oh, we'll treat you very hospitably." Then they'll always turn away, like look in the other direction or look into the camera and kind of make this face, like this grimacing smirk, and the camera will slowly zoom in on them. And I think that's brilliant. I mean, it's a way of reminding us that, oh yes, this is a goblin. This isn't a good character. This is a bad character. Because,
Right.
Sometimes you forget things, even if they've been, spelled out to you numerous times.
Yeah. And like how they keep like reminding us who is related to who and how. Like when, the sister's like, oh, little brother, and he's like, big sis, Like I really appreciated that they kept reminding us, because it's pretty easy to like forget those things. So,
Absolutely.
Grandpa
Or when-
Seth is always
like when
reminding you
characters
that
will
he's
identify
Grandpa Seth.
themselves in their dialogue.
Exactly.
Is great.
Like, and Grandpa Seth and me, his daughter, like, oh my God, thank you so much. Now I don't have to look it up on IMDb.
Yeah. So in a way, it's a film that's ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't even have IMDb back then, but they're already anticipating your, need to look things up.
Right. I don't know why more films don't follow suit. Like, pay attention to this cinematic brilliance. Hello.
Absolutely. But I think I would have to say my favorite aspect of the film is the acting.
Oh, for sure.
I actually have some behind the scenes info about
Really?
my favorite actor in the film, which is Deborah Reed, who plays Credence Leonore Gielgud of ancient Druid origins. So here's what the rumor is, that Tilda Swinton actually auditioned for that role.
Really?
Yeah, but Deborah Reed beat her out, largely on the strength of her ability to convey extreme nuance with her facial expressions, because there's so many close-ups in the film.
Right.
So
I definitely noticed, like, she's really good at, like, facial acting. Like, she was... It's kind of a callback almost to, like, silent film era, how they were really, really adept at making facial expressions like that.
yeah, but with so much more nuance.
Totally.
And I mean, like, some of the choices that she makes are just so brilliant. Like the decision to open her eyes as wide as humanly possible in every single shot. That's something that I don't think Tilda Swinton, though she's a great actor, would have thought of. So I really can't imagine anyone else in that role.
No. I can definitely... I mean, I hate to say it, but I think we can tell who the better actress is.
Yeah. Although... Swinton did get her revenge when she beat Reed to make it into the cast of the 2018 Suspiria remake.
Oh.
So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think the child actor who plays Joshua is another standout. I love the choice to repeatedly give him a line at the end of a scene and have all the other characters turn to him prior to him saying anything, and then have the camera slowly zoom in on him. And then he says, for instance, "You're a genius, big sister." And, the line delivery, the timing, everything is so perfect. And the film just sets him up for that in such an effective way, I think. Was there anything that you didn't like about the film?
Just that it was absolutely horrifying. So, like, basically what I liked about it, I also didn't like, I guess, because I'm going to have nightmares forever.
Yeah, definitely. I think I would have to say the same thing. This might be the first film that we've covered that I don't really have anything negative to say about it, other than it's a little too scary.
Yeah, I mean, that makeup and, like, the prosthetics and everything, like, so ahead of its time. I don't even know if anyone today can compete with it. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, it just blows The Thing and American Werewolf in London right out of the water. The realism of the transformation sequences.
Yeah, I'm going to be sleeping with the lights on for the rest of the foreseeable future, I guess.
But I think really, and we've talked about this before, it comes down to the concept of the film. Is this something that you're going to be thinking about while you're trying to sleep? Is it something
Yes.
it just plays on your, worst fears. And I've always
Yes.
had a fear of vegetarians turning me into plants and then eating me. I think everybody has that in their mind somewhere, right?
Yeah. Have you ever met a vegetarian? Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty scary stuff. Um, and maybe a little too much so. There's some topics that are just so real.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so relatable, that you maybe should back off a little bit. I mean, I'm somebody who enjoys watching things like Martyrs and Cannibal Holocaust, but this is just like a little too far for me.
Yeah. I can't believe you made me watch this knowing that I was going to be traumatized forever. Like, oh, I mean, I guess it's worth it because, it's so powerful, but
Mm.
ugh.
It's a life-changing film for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here because it's not just a horror film. There's like romance happening.
Oh
There's,
yeah.
like familial bonds, and there's a lot of layers and a lot of aspects of this film that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I was going to point out, can you think of a more erotic sequence, not even in horror, in any film, than the shared corn on the cob eating sequence in Troll 2?
Not really. Like, it was really intense.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's like all
usually.
the elements are there, right? I mean, you got the cheesy synth music, you've got awkward pauses, and then you
Hmm.
have, uh, just eating different sides of the same corn cob at the same time, causing it to explode into popcorn kernels that fly all over the room. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is a PG rated show. I don't even know if I should be talking about this. It's so sexy.
Yeah, usually in horror films, the sex scenes are pretty campy and like ridiculous and over the top, but this was art,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I yeah, it blew my mind. I was like, this is so like visually, stunning, really. Like it yeah, they lots of surprises in this film. That scene was definitely a surprise because just yeah, the chemistry between the two of them, like just
Mm-hmm.
explosive.
Yeah. Well, literally.
Yeah, literally.
So, in addition to being just a masterful exercise in terror, I also think this movie has a lot to say.
Hmm.
So, what did you think about the themes of the film?
Well, I recognized a few. Um, I think that grief actually played a big part into it.
Hmm.
Because Grandpa Seth is dead,
Right.
and his spirit is like still living on, and I think maybe it was like a metaphor for keeping someone alive even though they're gone, and
Well, yeah, Joshua says at the beginning, right? His mom says, "What did the psychiatrist say?" And he says, "That I made up Grandpa Seth in my subconscious."
uh-huh.
So, I mean, the film is already planting those seeds in the first
Right.
scene.
Yeah. I think that was pretty intense, and like really powerful and really beautiful, that not only that like everyone in the family besides the dad seemed to have like a important bond with Grandpa Seth, and that everyone's missing him really, I almost teared up really at the
Mm.
end.
Yeah. When he
Like when he
says,
was,
"This time I'll be gone forever."
yeah, that's devastating.
Hmm.
It's like, you know, he has to finally let go of Grandpa Seth, like for good, and move on. And I feel like we've all experienced that. And yeah, it's just broke my heart.
Yeah. And when the ghost of Grandpa Seth accidentally appears in Holly's room because he doesn't know the layout of the house yet, That's another just touching scene. I mean, it shows you that, you know, even as a ghost, he's a flawed, you know, fallible person, just like
Mm-hmm.
all of us.
That was a brilliant, like, idea. I loved that.
Hmm. Um, yeah, you know, I was thinking a lot about Grandpa Seth too, in the last
Did
few
Yeah.
years.
Okay.
And I was thinking about, you know, he says that no one but Joshua and the family will listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like they have some kind of block that won't allow them to, you know, access the spiritual realm or something like that. Um, and I wonder, like, is there something about the characterization of the other family members that gives us a sense of like what it is they're missing that Joshua has?
Yeah. Well, he's the youngest, and it's commonly understood that children, they're more open to things like the supernatural and paranormal and, fantasy and stuff like that. So it makes perfect sense. And I think it's a common trope in films to have the youngest kid be the one that's seeing and knowing things that are, you know, too fantastic for the older people to see and understand or believe or whatever.
That's true. We had
So,
Danny in The Shining.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I kind of felt like the mother, Diana, had a kind of childlike nature to her, though, that maybe
Yeah.
we can see where Joshua gets it. Like when uh, Joshua tells her that he's been told a bedtime story about goblins, she then goes down and has a conversation with her husband, and she asks him at the end of the scene, Michael, who are the goblins?
Mm-hmm.
As if they're really goblins. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not even she's asking what are goblins, like who are the goblins? Like she maybe thinks that they're a neighboring family or something. Um, so that was
Yeah.
like a really powerful moment showing her sort of innocence, childlike innocence, I think.
Yeah, totally. And like at first you kind of don't like her, but then she does that and you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, so maybe she's not so like uptight and, disbelieving." And I was kind of disappointed we didn't get to see his reaction. Like how did he respond to Who Are the Goblins?
Yeah, because you know, I actually think he's kind of, I don't know, he seems much more blocked to me. Where,
Yes.
like for instance, he has that famous line, "You can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it," which I think kind of indicates that, you know, he's not really able to distinguish between like physical things like piss and abstract concepts like hospitality. You know, it's like those things belong in different worlds, but there they are in the same sentence. And it's
Yeah.
like he thinks that you could literally piss on hospitality.
Right.
Um,
Do you
so,
think maybe he was speaking metaphorically
hmm.
or like
Well, but he's
he
denying it, right? He's saying you can't piss on hospitality, which in one sense is true,
so
but
he's I guess I guess it's too profound for me to understand.
hmm,
Um,
it
was
is
he
a really deep
speaking
film.
literally?
I mean, yeah, I think uh, we'll have to let our audience decide on that one,
Mm-hmm.
the exact sort of meaning of that. But I definitely think hospitality is
Mm-hmm.
a major theme of the film.
Right.
Um, that word appears over and over in the dialogue. And it's a story that's really about um, the breaking of that bond between the guest and the host, right? Um,
Yeah.
this town is supposed to be hospitable to the family that's in like a vacation exchange project with one of their families.
Well, that's the
Um,
basis of the movie. Uh, Shit, I can't remember the name of it. It's a very famous romantic comedies. Well, anyway, the premise of that movie is basically the same thing. It's like two people decide they want to switch houses in different places. So it's definitely a thing that happens.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also a major theme of Homer's Odyssey, is the abuse of hospitality, right? Because first Paris is a guest at Menelaus's court, and he absconds with his wife Helen. That causes the Trojan War. And then as Odysseus is making his way home, he keeps encountering people who are inhospitable in various ways. The Cyclops says, for your guest gift, I'll just eat you one by one. Meanwhile, back in Ithaca, Odysseus's wife Penelope is having to put up with these suitors who won't go away and who are just guests and who just eat up all of their living, basically, right? Their livelihood. And so, I think Troll 2 really taps into this mythic imagination that goes back to the earliest stories that we have, and the central concern of hospitality, or the Greek word is xenia. So that's probably what they were going for.
Okay.
I was also thinking this time watching it about the sort of intertwining themes of masculinity and cannibalism in the film. There's the famous conversation between Elliot and Holly, which is a rare moment of comic relief in the film. And I have to say, the comedic dialogue here is really sort of sparkling as well. It's really, it's funny, but it's funny in a smart way, like, so I'll just read this exchange. Elliot says to Holly, "Are you trying to turn me into a homo?" And she says, "It wouldn't be hard. If my father discovers you here, he'll cut off your little nuts and eat them." So, I mean, first off, like that exchange, it just feels so real, right? Like, this is how teenagers talk. They threaten each other with their fathers eating their little nuts.
Right.
It's just a totally natural thing to say. It's not bizarre at all.
I've heard it a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just go on Twitter, go on TikTok. I mean, this is what you'll see. But I think there's something under the surface there, right? Which is this sort of rivalry that's being imagined between the father, Michael, and Elliot for Holly's affection, is in danger of turning Michael into a cannibal, much like the goblins, someone who will eat human flesh. And that sort of rivalry between the father and the lover, it's another sort of classic mythic element to the story, but it's explored here in a really interesting way. Michael, I think, is in this really complex situation where he needs to protect his daughter, but he's in danger of tipping over and becoming one of the goblins if he goes too far. Meanwhile, Elliot, in order to prove his masculinity, he has to pursue this contest with this other man. So I think there's a lot of insight into masculinity in the modern world just in that one little exchange.
It sounds like vaguely Freudian to me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think there's a lot of, I mean, we already talked about the line early on where Joshua references the unconscious, and the ability to sort of project your desires onto the world. So, yeah, I mean, are there any fields of discourse that Fragasso cannot plumb in this screenplay? I don't even know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also picked up on some like ancient fairy lore sort of themes going on,
with the Stonehenge
and in ancient fairy tales, and I mean actual tales about fairies, you're not supposed to eat or drink anything they give you. So there's that. And
Yeah, it's like another sort of mythic element that's sort of you see in a lot of fairy tales is like the seductive person or the seductive gift that you can't resist, but then it does something bad to you.
also, like, the whole Hades Persephone thing.
Maybe you could explain that a little more.
Well, Persephone wasn't supposed to eat anything, right? And she ate the
Yeah, she ate
pomegranate
the
seeds, and then therefore she's
right.
stuck there. So,
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of Ovid's Metamorphoses too while watching
oh
this.
yeah?
Um, yeah, which is the ancient Roman epic poem describing Greek mythology, including the rape of Persephone, and it's a poem that's all about how changeable everything in life is, how you can't step into the same river twice. It's actually a Neo-Pythagorean poem. And so the way that it illustrates that is with all these stories about people being transformed into various things, but often they get transformed into a plant, like Narcissus
Oh yeah.
or Hyacinthus or Adonis,
You're
or
right.
various um, characters in Greek mythology. It's like a very common thing.
That's
And
very
so I was
true.
wondering, like, could that be the key to this film's engagement with the theme of vegetarianism? Like, is this the chink in their logic that vegetarians think that they can avoid eating meat by eating plants, but really, how do you know that the plant wasn't a person who was transformed into green goop by goblins? You really can never know that. So, what,
Yeah,
checkmate.
they're very mysterious creatures.
hmm What else did you think the film was saying about vegetarianism? Because I've heard that, or I mean, I've seen in the writings about this film. I mean, of course, there's a vast critical literature about this film, and we can't begin to address the many brilliant analyses that have been made of the themes of the film. But the co-writer of the story, Fragasso's wife, Rossella Drudy, said that she was inspired to write this story after some of her friends had become vegetarian, and she said that was really annoying. Um, so, yeah. So, in what way is this film a brilliant deconstruction of vegetarianism, do you say?
Well, I think it's obvious that she she feels a certain way about vegetarians. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely understand how they could be seen as villainous to some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like
Monstrous, even.
monstrous, and it's that whole like you're different than me, so you're bad. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like
It's a truism.
yeah, it's like one of the oldest tropes there is.
But also, I mean, I think it really shows that vegetarians they think of themselves as being non-violent, right?
Yeah,
Um, but really, what could be more violent than eating plants, which are living things too?
right. So it's kind of
And
hypocritical.
exactly, like, how can you, you know, decry us? And there's the classic scene with the pastor uh, riling up the congregation of goblins with how revolting meat eating is, um, talking about they're eating stinking carcasses, and using this language of disgust.
Right.
Um, but then what could be more revolting than just eating a meal that has nothing but plants in it, just like a salad or something? I mean, that's unthinkable.
That and they're
And I
talking
think this
about
film really shows that.
they they don't like humans because humans eat meat, but they eat humans.
Right, yeah, so they're
So,
hypocritical as
yeah.
well, in the same way that real vegetarians are.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about allusions to earlier literary works and filmic works. I think there are a lot of other ones we could have pointed out as well. There's obviously the brilliant homage at the end of the film to the Changeling when the baseball rolls down the steps, all seemingly all on its own towards Joshua,
Mm-hmm.
which leads right into the famous closing line of the film. Do you want some Joshua?
Mm-hmm.
Which I have to say another thing about the film. Just this is a bit of a tangent, but the lip syncing on the goblins is it's so perfect. I don't know how they did it because I mean you can barely tell that it's not real lips that are moving, and instead it's like a puppet's head that can barely move at all.
Wait,
Um,
you're telling me that that was lip syncing?
yeah, I think they must have dubbed the voice over, and
That
then in the shot he's just like moving the mouth open and shut to the extent that the mask will allow.
I had no idea. I that what?
Yeah, it's amazing. So, but anyway, I mean that's a moment where it's sort of reflecting on an earlier film in a really smart way, right? Because like, sure, this film has nothing to do with the Changeling, but that was an earlier famous moment in a horror film, so it makes perfect sense to bring that in here at the very conclusion of this film. But I think there are also a lot of moments in more recent films that are callbacks to Troll 2. So can you think of any more recent films that sort of reminded you of this, or now in retrospect you realize like, oh wow, that's got to be the influence of Troll 2?
I mean, I can't imagine any modern horror film didn't take something away from this, but
Yeah.
I think I'm so blown away by this whole thing that I can't put anything on its level. So I do you?
Well, I just kept thinking about Midsummer, the horror film about the Swedish cult
Uh-huh.
that came out just, I think, last year. It's really similar in that everything happens for the most part in broad daylight, right? Like, I think the chase sequence at the beginning of this film is so striking, right? Because I mean, you have that terrifying chase theme that plays, um, that just sounds like it's. I mean, it's very synth heavy, so it sounds like maybe it comes from a video game. But I would say like a really terrifying survival horror game, like Sonic the Hedgehog or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you've got this guy with a comical hat running through the forest, being chased by goblins, and it's clearly meant to be this horrifying scene, but it's in broad daylight, and in fact, the we have this constant lens flares from the bright sunlight getting into the camera lens,
Mm.
um, and I think it really it's almost the director flaunting the fact that he can scare us even in broad daylight. He doesn't need to rely on cheap tricks like putting us into a traditionally scary, dark environment. And that's something I think Ari Aster picked up on with Midsummer.
Yeah. I can see that.
So, did we have any other thoughts about this one?
How do you even articulate your thoughts when you've been completely blown away? Like, I haven't seen a movie that good in years, maybe?
Yeah, for
So
decades even.
it's like one of those that you have to think about for a while because it keeps having an effect on you.
Hmm.
So I think, you know, as the months go on, I'm going to have more and more thoughts and opinions and feelings as they unfold because, my mind is like frozen in just awe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, same here. Same here. It's gonna be hard to top that one. I think maybe we've made a mistake by putting the best of the 10 films that we'll cover in this season first.
yeah, I was gonna say.
But we shall see. Next time, we're going to be watching Jennifer's Body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was that my idea?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It got displaced by Troll 2. We were going to do it first.
Okay.
But then
Good
just
on
the
you for
brilliance of
keeping track of
Troll
like
2.
the things that I say and recommend, because
Yeah. I just have so many spreadsheets and
yeah,
resumes.
you're the more organized one.
Okay. So, yeah, join us then and see you next time.
Bye.